Patricia. And Ratcliffe, Ratcliff.
Okay, no E on the end. Okay.
And Felicia. It's Felicia. Hayes. McGee.
Hayes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
MCGEE.
Regina,
Your last name.
Regina.
It is hyphen. You're fine.
Hayes, Hays.
Ready, whatever you guys are.
We really appreciate all of you meeting with us, and essentially, Silas and I have been working on a sort of a longer-term series of stories, writing about unsolved homicides in Oklahoma City. Also, we've actually tried to look at every single homicide during a 7.5-year period in Oklahoma City, and to look at the outcome of each homicide to see how many are solved and unsolved. And we really appreciate the three of you being willing to meet with us. We would love to talk to you just about your mom and anything you're willing to share. And I wanted to ask first if you'd be willing to just tell us a little bit about her.
I'll let you start.
I'm the baby.
Yeah,
I got to
let's-
start. I don't know. Of course, I'm the youngest, so I was very close to my mom. You know, I've been here mostly my sister and them were gone. So during the time of her passing, I was here in Oklahoma. So we had a very close relationship. If I didn't get a call from her at work, I worked at the Marriott, so she would call me about 1 or 2 o'clock. What y'all having today? Bring me some lunch. Bring me some food. So mostly if I didn't hear from her at that time, it was, I'm just used to it. I knew she's gonna call me about 1 or 2 o'clock every day. She slept most of the day and up about 1 or 2 o'clock every day. She slept through. She was very outgoing. Everybody loved her. She had just, the smile. She was just, a friendly, outgoing, From her grandkids on, they love their granny. Everybody just loved their granny. And even other people just end up picking up calling her granny, or they called them, her nickname was Margarita or Rita.
They couldn't say Monretta, so
Monretta.
everybody started calling them Margarita.
So, she's just been a constant. My mother, I was about, maybe 11 or 12, they separated. So my mom has been our mother and father,
Mm-hmm.
So, we had a, close relationship with her. I don't know, just, she was just a outgoing person and, really my best friend, because I seen her just about every day because she stayed, right down from me. And I was more of her caretaker than she was mine. So.
And I talked to her on the phone. I lived in Texas, so, when I would come, I would see her. But we talked on the phone, quite a bit. And it's one thing about my mother. Every year, everybody got a phone call, and she would call the local radio station, and they would get their name heard on the radio station. Her friends, close friends, sisters,
Grandkids.
children, grandkids, no matter how small, she did that every year for
She didn't forget
everybody.
birthdays.
Did not forget a birthday. So it's just to me it's just a lot that whoever did this took away from our family, the backbone of our family. Y'all got to excuse me because I'm still not really dealing with this too good, and it's been 4 years just this year just passed, and none of us are. Like our girls, she has older girls that were like in 20s and 30s when this happened. They're not dealing with it. That really just don't. They won't even hardly go to the gravesite. They won't, And like right after she passed, that Christmas we had a big dinner, and everybody was here, and it was like her presence was here, and it's just something that we all did, and it was wonderful, and just like every time we get together now, it's like you can kind of feel her presence. But you know, even though we wish she was here, you know, but it's still hard. You know, they say you never get over that, but now I see what people mean when they say that. You know, you never get over it. Just my husband say, well, it'll fade away. But the way I feel, no, that's something that'll never go away with me.
We understand she was a retired bus driver. Did she work for the school district?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Years.
Years. We were smaller than. Just came. I've been back 3 months, and I've met people that I'd start talking to them, and then I would tell them about my mom. Oh, I know her. You know. I mean, it's just, and I'm like, okay, I don't, know you, but you know my mother. So especially in the area, northeast area, because that's where she lived. So I mean, she had a great effect on people. So.
I was at work, and like I said, I usually get that call about 1 or 2, and I hadn't got that call. I started calling her, and no answer. And then about 3 o'clock, I got a phone call from my aunt. The guy across the street had noticed that the mailman had came, and I guess he didn't pay attention to the shattered glass from her screen door. And so the guy noticed that she hadn't came and got her mail, and he kind of glanced over, because she always come out and get her mail. And he glanced and seen glass on the front porch. So I received a call from my aunt's daughter called me and said, Felicia, you need to get to your mom's house. And I just remember, that feeling. I felt something because I hadn't talked to her. And, I knew something was wrong, so they said, you need to get to your mom. I'm like, what's wrong? You just need to get here. So I way out on North Expressway, I don't know how fast I made it there. And when I got there, it was police cars taped off. And my aunt was nervous. She couldn't find the key to the house. I was like, I tried to run up there. Kick the door in. Who cares? Kick it in. And finally they ended up getting, because she couldn't find because my aunt is a retired police officer, so they called her. And her name is on the house there, so she couldn't find her key. She was nervous. She had tons of key rings, and finally they were able to get into the back door, and she was there. She had a cat named Dottie. Dottie was there in the house, and she's had the cat forever. And they just found her, and they said that once they, it was instant. It's when, even if they would have got in there, she was already
Because they shot her
away.
between the eyes.
It was one
Right
shot
there.
right there.
One shot right there. Between the eyes. I was, of course, and I was in Texas, and I got it.
I called you.
Yeah, and she called me. I was like, had just got off of work, and I had went to the store, and I was in the clothes store. And when she called me instantly, I just kind of broke down, and I was here within an hour from Texas. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my mom. That's our backbone. So, and when I came, it was it was still the police cars, and of course the lights wasn't on about that time because it was kind of a little later in the evening. But I was devastated.
My mom's other sister's husband, which is my uncle, he called me.
Hey, Mark.
I was living in Bethany. And, of course, I didn't believe him. So I called my mom's house, and she didn't answer. And then I talked to my Aunt Margaret, and she had her daughter come pick me up. And then, of course, I had to tell my son and daughter. So at one point in time, we've all lived with her.
Yeah, all of us.
As a grown up, we've all
Even
lived
grown,
back
we've
home
had to
a
come
couple
back home
times.
to mama, So now, just.
So it was kind of hard because that year I was trying to finish my college education. And I wanted her to be there. And she was telling everybody, her friends and stuff. And whatever I did, my grades, I always told her about it. And she did, like my sister said, she posted everything on the wall. So whenever her friends and stuff come by, she was saying, you know, my daughter, she will be graduating college. She was real proud of me.
Yeah, she had pictures on everywhere of everybody, friend, everybody. I'd have like my oldest daughter. She made this big mural, like a big picture collage, and even some of my friends that I went to high school with are on that picture. And when they come around, they see themselves. We see ourselves as children and teenagers and stuff on those pictures. She did us. I'm telling you, it's so many people that this is affected. Everybody just want to get to the bottom of it, you know. And you hear stuff on the streets, especially when you have children and adult 20s and then 16 and 17-year-olds. People talk on the streets, and I'm just gonna say this because they said it was a guy that got killed. His name was Black a couple of weeks ago. That he got murdered and put in the trunk of a car. They said he did it. This has been since day one.
About 2 weeks ago.
Since his name has come up since day one that my mother got murdered, and then 2 weeks ago, it's like everybody just started coming out with it because one of our friends said that she had talked to his sister about it, and he told her that you better shut up for you being a body bag. So I don't know if they know about this, but we've said that name before.
When I heard it prior, after she passed, I gave it to the name to the detective. But during that time, he was incarcerated.
Yeah.
And so he had I guess he got let out of prison. And then, like I said, 2 weeks ago, it just came out, and a lot of people said they were scared to say it. So, and as I mentioned, to you before that, it's just the unknown. And if it was him, it's still the unknown to us because we may never know.
We may never know now. He's not here to confess. If it was him,
we don't know for sure.
So to me, I just.
What is that like for you? Just living with that uncertainty, not being able to know, not ever having your mother's killer arrested and convicted. What is it like for you and your family just living with that uncertainty?
It's rough. I couldn't take it. I moved to Texas. I just got back.
Yeah, we just moved.
I can't even go in that house over there.
And
I've never been back in that house.
And if one of her daughters lived there, and it's like every time I go, I just have I'm in and out real quick. I'm not never there no long period of time. It's because it's overwhelming. Just like coming to this today, I had just tried to put it out of my mind, and then she called me yesterday and said, "Well, we got the thing." I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to do this," because I know it brings up it's like my anxiety level like right now is just like through the roof. Talking about it hurts, and you try to not feel that pain. So.
Yeah, it took about 2 years before I even did anything, close up the holes in the walls. And then my daughter, the one that you met, Shanice, she was very close to her granny. That was one of her. It's like, for me, whatever she couldn't give to me, she did for my daughter Shanice. They were really close. So I was just surprised that she was able to move in there because no one was like, "I'm not staying in there."
Oh,
I was like, she's like, "I don't care because I want to see my granny, so maybe she'll come back to me in spirit," because they had a very close relationship. So she's does good over there. Like, I could never stay there, but it's affected. And her oldest grandchild is her daughter, which stayed around not too far from her. That's the one that won't go to. She won't go to anything.
She won't go to nothing. She's number one out of all the grandchildren. She's the oldest out of all of them, and so she really, she won't even. She really don't even care to to talk about it at all.
At all.
She don't even want to talk about it.
It hurt her a lot because my mother would get her little things from the casino. So she was the one that took her. She had that demanding. She's sweet as gold, but she had the demanding. Shrika, get over here right now and take me to the casino.
Yeah.
We knew to
that
do it.
feisty type, like, you know.
But her heart was big, but we
But
knew
she's-
we're
yeah.
not going to question. We're just going to do it.
Yep. Cause sometimes I'd call her. She say, "Now what you calling me for?" Cause it's like, okay, you wasting your long distance, and I have to tell her, this is I got a cell phone. It's free. You know, I'm
She
not
didn't know
wasting
that
nothing. But you know, I mean, it just I mean,
Yeah, she would love everyone. She always took her food.
yeah.
And then I went and bought groceries, just took her to her house.
Hmm.
And she had a fireplace in her house. I went and bought wood, took her to her house. So did everybody else.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the only one.
It just the things, you know, you just miss the small things. You
And
know.
then, yeah, we had talks all the time. I was always call her at least 3 times a week.
Yeah, and she was get out and do her. I mean, you know, she walk, cut yards. She do all kind of stuff, all kinds of things.
She would lie. The lady would live to be 100 or more.
Yeah, because she's
full of
very
energy.
full of energy.
And then, like she said, that guy saw glass on her front porch. Everybody knew she was very clean. So for that to be on her porch, they knew something was wrong.
Ooh,
Yeah, because he went out there picking it up or trying to clean it up. They knew
that
something had to be wrong.
that was a clean.
She cleaner than this.
lady.
Cleaned my sister's house. She was cleaner than this.
She'd walk like if she come to our house or come to somebody's house. Oh, she'd come in cleaning. Come in cleaning. I mean, then you'll be clean, but she come in doing other things. You know, just cleaning.
That we grew up are gone. You do have some of the, maybe a few of the older people, but it's just a whole new set of people in that neighborhood now. Younger. Those apartments right behind my mom's were really, really, really rough. You know, it was just we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what it is now. They've done something to it.
To where it's
Now.
not. It's different. It's not
I
like
think it's
it
for
used to.
people that's
Off of, that's
yeah,
getting off of
recovering from
drugs.
drugs. Yeah.
Oh, and see that so that's calmed down. You know.
But yeah, I think it's just a younger it's a younger crowd out there.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to, you know, what it used to be when we were growing up.
Okay.
They just don't. You know, it's just.
And I think this happened in the
gang
wee
stuff.
hours.
It's gang.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there. You know. The younger crowd.
Do you think that was what happened to her? Was it part of that, or was it just a random thing?
Well, the way when they, you know, the police looked at it, it's like someone that person could have been like chasing someone, shooting at someone, because the way it riddled her house is from one end to the next,
all the way across.
So we don't really know. That was what they kind of thought of it. Maybe they were shooting at someone running through the yard, because I had a car parked there, and even that car had gunshots. But it started from one end of the house to the next, like they went through her backyard.
Oh.
Because it's a fence over there. It's not real high. You know, so.
Had you been previously aware, kind of ever given thought to maybe the increased level of violence in the area where she lived, or were you ever concerned about her safety, or had you ever even considered her being at risk of being shot?
My mother knew everybody, just about everybody in that neighborhood.
I've lived over there.
Yeah, so
My car was
it was
parked over
never. You would not have imagined that to happen. So I think it may have been just like a random thing, you know.
And so yeah, you get those.
She
random
knew
things that happen.
everybody. We grew up, you know, in Carverdale too. We grew up there because my aunt has been there since I was, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah, we was younger.
So she's owned 2 houses out there, and she was owned 2, and she was living in 1. So we grew up. We know just about everybody that was there. But like I say, times have changed.
Yeah,
All of
we
us
were
have
younger.
moved away. A lot of people, you know, maybe some of their parents still live there. You know, our people that we know still live there. But I just think that was just a random thing. you know.
But anyway, so you were never really concerned about that neighborhood?
No,
Okay. Yeah.
no.
No, like I said,
No.
my mom, she was a spitfire, so she would come out on the porch and be ready to fight or whatever.
And I think
There's
she,
no telling
I
who she
think
might
she heard
piss
those
somebody off.
gunshots. I think she's heard those gunshots, and she got up and looked out the window.
Cause the window,
She's
they
Yeah.
found
So
her.
that-
It's
that
a,
part she-
yeah, it was a
Did
fireplace
she-
right
did
there.
she was right there by the
Did
window.
she ever mention to you in any conversation that she had heard gunshots before in her, out of her house? Okay.
She had never seen
Okay.
that. So
And
that's
actually, the guy that stayed across the street say it is common to hear it in the middle of the night. It is.
so she, you know,
It is
she never
something
said
that
it to
she
her.
never
heard.
said
So
that to
she
me.
just basically, I heard it from, the guy that stayed across the street. That's the one that actually found, seen the glass.
Right.
That is common. So that's why I say that, because he stated that he didn't think none of it. He heard it, he looked, and went back to bed, because it was something that did happen in that neighborhood. And I think because it was so close to her, she got up and actually looked, as opposed to just ignoring it. Because it was so close, and she must have heard it hitting her house, and she got up. Because she like I said, she sleeps. I mean, she's up all night, so she may go to bed around 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then she'll sleep till 1 or 2. And I think they said it was around 3 o'clock in the morning when they heard the actual gunshots. So
After it happened, I'm sure you guys are talking to detectives and things.
Mhm.
What did you hear from them? What were they saying?
well, they, it wasn't a lot to be said. They couldn't really give us anything. I stayed in
haven't heard anything.
contact with him. I talked to him most because I was
She
here,
lived here.
and any time I heard something, like I heard that guy's name, I called him and asked him to check into it, to see if he could figure out anything. But I've probably since that time I called him at least 3 times, and he could never give me anything.
How does that? That's got to be frustrating.
Oh, I was very, very annoyed, and I'm quiet, but I can get that spitfire attitude when it's something that's, like I tell you, the unknown that hurts me more than anything, and they couldn't give me anything, and to this day still haven't given us anything.
Why do you think it is that nothing's turned up?
I could, I probably could rattle off a few things, but do I?
And,
I don't
and I'm
know.
upset. I mean, you got to have somebody in the department to go back and check some of these things out. Go back to the neighborhood and ask around. Maybe somebody now, since it's been, a while, would come out and say something. Because my mother was well known. So maybe they might come out and say,
And it could, like you
Well,
said,
maybe-
it could have been the area,
yeah.
To me, that's maybe why, they just didn't really check into it. Like I said, you hear of the gunshots. The guy said you do hear stuff. So maybe, they just took it as a, random shooting, and that was what it was.
Do you feel like the police, the detectives did enough in investigating your
I don't think so.
No.
No.
I wasn't even here. I feel that
Cause
way. I was in
I
the
mean,
state.
when we
That's
what was it, the next day or something? We went down there, and cause me, I'm like, well, can't y'all go out and check this and check that, and one of them, I just don't want to say no names because I can't even remember his name. Said, well, this is not TV. I'm like, okay, I know it's not TV, but maybe I'm trying to give you some suggestions, So, like another, I guess, because I do watch TV, and I watch another 48 hours, and crimes do get solved within 48 hours. You got to get out and do something. So, I mean, I just don't think enough got done.
That was one of the police detectives who told you
Somebody,
this?
yeah, one of them. This is not TV,
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
you
well,
heard him say it.
but like I said, I never received a call. I had to initiate
Yeah.
and call to see if they have heard anything. You know, I had to initiate it. They never contacted me.
And it's just so many people that's just, it's like gone and forgotten.
Do you know maybe the time period when any of the three of you or anyone involved in this case out of your family has heard from the police department? How long it's been at this point today? When's the last time you were last contacted by the police department?
They have not, and
Never.
I was more of a contact person with the
So
detective.
nobody's followed up with you in like the last month, 2 months, 3 months, 6
No,
months?
no. As I said, I initiated each call.
And she's been in the same place and everything. All of us have had the same numbers.
I mean, I just can't think of his name right now, but when I, call, and I have to kind of refresh him a little, the last call. I mean, I know they see tons of them, but,
One of the things we did notice, I kind of mentioned this a minute ago now, it seems like when we mapped them all out, that neighborhood,
like I said, I just think it's just, not to say, I mean, I'm not discrediting anything about, living in the east side of town,
I am.
but
I'm gonna say it. It's black.
it's,
It's predominantly black. That's a predominantly black neighborhood.
right?
It really is. And I'm just gonna say it. I mean, it is. You don't hardly have any other races that live in that neighborhood. So maybe that might have something to do with it.
What kind of difference do you think that makes?
It'll make a big difference.
what,
It would be a difference. I mean, it would be a difference.
How so?
I believe it I don't, like I said, I won't, just totally say that's, what it is, but it's just the type of area, drugs involved, in that area,
There's
that's the main
lot
thing.
Of shootings,
Yes.
a lot of killings,
And like I said, it had a lot to do more of the younger, different people in that area now.
And it could be because the kids these days are not scared to shoot police officers either.
Yeah.
So it's changed. I mean, there's no question in your mind it's changed since the days you lived there.
Yeah.
Since my aunt, like I said, my aunt was a retired police officer, and she parked her car. She drove her car and parked it in front of her house, and we never had any type of problems like that.
Like that.
Me and her daughter, really close, and she went to Douglas High School, and it just wasn't. You didn't hear that. You didn't just hear gunshots
At night like that.
At all. So it has changed over
a
there
lot.
tremendously.
Okay.
The area.
You mentioned it. I mean, it is predominant
Yes,
because of it. Okay. How so?
I believe so. Because it's like a stereotype, Or they're either think you do, using drugs, selling drugs, or whatever, and there's violence, and I feel that they would think that, well, they're just gonna kill themselves anyway, so we're not gonna really do anything about it. There's no need of us looking into it.
This is the police.
Yes.
Okay. Be a factor here.
Mm-hmm.
And also a lot of people don't want to talk to police because they feel that retaliation from what'll happen from the people that would, I know that's been said in my mother's case about, this guy that we've heard about, that a lot of people were scared to say anything because they feel they wouldn't be protected from him, so. And, you put that name out there and then, who's going to protect them?
So they're kind of caught in a weird, awkward situation.
Yeah.
Because even if you wanted to talk to police, then you're afraid of what
Somebody-
the retribution from. Oh, that is. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Maybe there's not enough police protection at that time of the morning. Because all throughout the day, I know I count 10 police cars driving back and forth to work. But sometimes I get off at 10 or 11 o'clock, I do not see one police. And I drive down 10th Street. It's like a ghost town. I also don't see one police at all.
So not there at the right time of day
Yeah.
or night. I
To
guess.
stop some of the stuff that's going on at night.
I mean,
You
because
know,
if they're
because
seeing it,
if they like it's just to even just drive through. You know, people the criminals scatter.
Mhm.
You know, maybe it might have an effect to where you know some of these people can live. That's you know
and you know what,
hard working people.
Right.
You
back
know,
back in the day when my aunt lived across the street, I think they played a key role in not a lot of things happening because they know she was right around the corner.
and that police car there. See,
Yeah,
'cause it was
she
there.
she was in a
That,
police car.
you know,
But after she left, she didn't live over there no more when this happened. She had moved to another side of town. And they knew they were sisters, and everybody in the neighborhood knew that our aunt was a police officer. So, we never really had any problems in that neighborhood growing up.
Yeah.
and then like
But then I said they
everybody
gone.
knew each
Mostly
other.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's gone now. So you know,
He's gone now.
Oh, I can't even say I was happy to hear it. I was mad.
because there's no justice.
No, you know.
And then again, I mean, we'll never know. But if he was the one, you reap what you sow.
Mm.
You know, it's just been 4 years, and you know, if it was him, so we wouldn't. I mean, you know, I mean, the streets. I've been, you know, the streets. Sometimes they don't lie. You know, it may just be held down a little while,
Far fetched. A
a
little, more
little
than what
while until you know something like that happens, and then everybody talks. So I mean, they don't too much lie, and you keep hearing that same old name all the time. It's something with that.
Mhm.
It's something with that. Either you was a party of it or you did it. You know.
So everybody knows, but nobody's telling the police.
It's like when they told me I was mad. Don't call
She
me.
told him.
Don't call me. You know I'm mad.
Mhm.
I gave him the name
She
because
gave him
now
the
I'm
name.
mad because you know now y'all want and we'll never know. You know why
Because
not?
you
Why
didn't
not
take
fin?
action.
You know so. I think it just
And
kind of
if
made
you
me a little
did
bitter.
do anything about it, if the police did do anything about it, they never called her back to say, well, no, there was no lead with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So.
How did you hear that he had been killed? Was it through
So
through
I guess
the news or the neighbor?
so I guess well one of my daughter's friends seen it on Facebook,
Yeah.
and then she called me and then you know I wasn't trying to let her have it, but I was like I don't want to hear it because now everybody want to talk. You know I
They
don't
were
want to hear
calling our girls.
Our
Because, you know,
daughters.
they're our daughters. They're younger, you know, 20-something years old. And I mean, quite a bit of people were calling them. And then I've heard it, you know, out a couple of them's mouths come straight and tell me, you know.
Then the name of this person, was it soon after your mom was killed or later on when you first heard and
It had to
his name?
be yeah it was within that year that I contacted. And then I wasn't really knowing. Then I ended up giving them another name to even check out, and I just never got a response from either. I gave them another name that someone had said, and I just never got anything. Because my cousin, she called me and said, "You need to call a detective and kind of throw this name out there and see if they can find anything." And
Because when you hear something, that's what you do, you know. You call them and let them know. That's trying to help them, you know. At least they could follow up on it, you know.
I even went driving like the next day or night to see if I could figure out exactly where he stayed, which I thought was crazy, but I wanted to know,
Sure.
If y'all can't find, let me see if I can find out something.
We kind of noticed the other day, the way we met, I think it was your
My daughter.
daughter. We were a few days ago, just driving around in that neighborhood that I meant, that area that I mentioned, taking pictures of the places where homicides had happened. And when we came past that house, we were actually a little lost and we were having a hard time finding it. We pulled in, as it turned out, we pulled in right next to it, and we had barely stopped. And your daughter came out and said, "Hey, can I help you?" And we kind of wondered if that was, if she's nervous living in that area now, or if that's changed the way you feel about the area.
No, it's just my daughter.
Oh.
She's just,
She's out there like
she
that.
just,
She probably was trying to wonder if y'all was lost and helping y'all up out of there.
this lady that was friends with my mom, she stays around the corner, and she posted, I guess they went around and they talked to her. I guess they was going through the neighborhood and they talked to her. Somehow the news people put my sister's picture up, and I went haywire because we didn't know. I don't know what was going on, why she was murdered. We didn't know nothing, so I called the news channel and told them, "Don't put her up at 6 o'clock because we don't know what's going on. We don't know what happened." So yeah, it was a fear because we didn't know what if it was somebody. We don't know for sure if someone was running through the yard. It was intentional. We don't know.
Cause when we had to go clean the house out, I was scared because you never know. You watching, you every boom you looking,
And like I said, I never went there. Period. It took me 2 years. When they went and moved my mom's stuff out, I was like, just bring me this, bring me that. I didn't even want to go in. I didn't have anything to do with it for 2 years at least.
It was difficult to me because my mother lived alone. I live alone. She was murdered. I still kind of think something like that would happen to me. Yeah. Or it was somebody she knew. They knew that we were her daughters. They knew, well, they might come looking for me because I did just kill her mother. So they might try to get me like I got her.
Yeah, that's what made me so mad about her giving pictures away because they were really close, and I was so mad. I told her she couldn't even come to the funeral. I was mad because I didn't want, like I said, I didn't know. I didn't want nothing to happen to my sister because you put her picture up on the news. We don't know if they, know her.
Because I lived there too. They might have seen me once upon a time. I didn't know them. They might have knew me. So I called them to say something. Don't you put that up there. And I mean it. Because I will sue you. I need to talk to your manager. She didn't put it up there.
Scared. We were scared. A little fear, about just going that way. It's still just because of what happened. And it was never solved,
Yeah, that kind of made... And I grew up here in Oklahoma. I didn't want to live here no more. I just didn't. I grew up here as a kid. And I lived here and there in Oklahoma. And they just took my enjoyment that I had living for Oklahoma away. Yeah. So, since my sister was in Texas, that's where I went. After I graduated from college, I went down there and lived with her.
Where did you go to college?
SNU.
Oh.
See?
Oh, right.
But Jack. Work with. They didn't know my mother, but they knew me. So, someone you work with or love, of course, you gonna feel good about their mother.
Right.
So, I worked on the campus as well. So one of the guys I worked with, and I didn't even know he was gonna come. It really surprised. He came to the funeral.
Oh. It was a lot of people.
Yeah.
At her funeral, a lot of people.
People she didn't even know that knew us.
Yeah.
As well.
Wasn't that guy still walking around scot-free? Just like, we're the victims in this. They're living a happy life, doing whatever, and we're suffering. And you just see these three right here, but it's a lot of people. Even the little grandkids that are 9 years old, 8 years old. They still ask, "Where's Granny?" Because she just had everybody. She just, I mean, I have like a 16 from 16 till 11-year-old grandkids that they just were they just don't understand it.
And my grandkids will never get to see it.
Never.
No.
And I have a new 4-month old. Never get to
Yeah,
see.
we got grandkids same age.
Yeah, never get to see they great grandmother.
So when those children get old enough for you to start kind of sharing some memories of their great grandmother, what words will you use to describe her to them?
Oh, she was a wonderful woman. Wonderful. We do have pictures, and stuff like that, but just, a heart of gold. Wonderful woman. Loving. Very, very loving. She didn't meet no strangers. She did not meet no strangers.
And you know how if your mom is living alone and you kind of worry because she's very friendly, very
Yeah, she's
open-hearted. I used to always
she's
tell
open.
her,
Very.
I have to tell her, quit being so nice. You can't be nice to
Nice to
everybody.
Because, these days the people are not like they used to be,
Yeah,
where you could sleep on your
Yeah.
front porch and.
I recall a time I had to go get her because someone came to her house to get changed. They gave her a counterfeit $100 bill.
Oh no.
So she went up to, used to be Nice Buy for Less. And they knew her because my mom go all the time. So she went up there to spend it. And they took her to the back and took her to the federal building. I had to go get her. That's how her heart is. She didn't think no one would give her that,
Yeah.
And I was like, Mama, who
You
gave it to
gave
you?
it.
I'm not going to tell you. I said, yes, you are. She didn't. That's how she is. She didn't want to tell on that person. And I had to make her, you have to get his name or they're not going to let you
They're not gonna
leave.
let you- yeah.
And that's how she is. She did not want. Even though they did her like that, she did not want to. She didn't want to give her name there. She did not want to give her name up.
Except that
You know.
Trusted